In this video, I'm going to walk you through my solo time trial of the Ninja Loop from April 24th, 2021. But first, some background on the course. So I only heard about the Ninja Loop last fall when it was included in the Battle of the Bay series. The Battle of the Bay was an awesome virtual competition organized by Bay Area running legend Patty O'Leary. There was a short course and a long course in each of the four regions of the Bay: North, South, East, and SF. The Ninja Loop was the long course for the North Bay, where I reside. It was described as a loop created by some ultra runners looking to sneak in, hence the ninja, a morning trail run before heading to the city to work. I didn't end up running the loop last fall, as I focused on the Battle of the Bay short courses, but I kept it in mind for the future. I was all ready to give it a shot in early February, but then I had some knee pain and canceled that attempt. Then I penciled it in for 2 weeks ago, but a week before that, the record got beaten by about 2 minutes 40 seconds by Andy Wacker of Boulder, Colorado. With a much tougher time to target, I delayed the effort by 2 weeks in order to take a better shot at it. The course is 11.62 miles according to the Strava segment, with 2,200 feet of climbing. I would need an average pace of 5:54 per mile, or a gradient adjusted pace of 5:12 per mile. The last 2-mile descent is somewhat technical, and the last mile especially has a lot of hairpin turns that really slow you down. So I knew I'd really have to hit around 5:05 GAP on the climbs and hang on the last descent. I did some recon of the course and came in with a goal of 1:08:02, which would beat Andy's record by 36 seconds. I planned to spot him about 45 seconds in the first 3.2 miles, and then slowly start making up time on the second climb. I wouldn't be ahead of his pace until almost 9 miles in, and then I planned to really open up the gap on the final climb and descent where I knew he had slowed up. Okay, on to race day. I knew I needed to start fairly early to avoid having to pass hikers on the single track sections. I would have my coach Tony riding behind me on some of the downhills, and my teammate Patrick would run the last 2-mile downhill with me, clearing the path ahead. My legs were feeling good, but not particularly snappy. My breathing was not great. I needed 3 puffs in the inhaler to feel like I could get a good deep breath in. I finally got underway at 7:36. I hit the first section hard, but it felt easy at that point. I once had someone tell me that you can afford to run the first 10 seconds of a cross-country race at an all-out sprint without it affecting you later, as long as you back off after 10 seconds. Probably not quite true, but I've always started my races like that anyway. I was first able to assess my pace around a mile in, and I was out fast, like 20 seconds fast. It felt controlled though, so I carried on up and over the first climb, 18 seconds ahead of my goal split. I met up with Tony after the initial steep descent and got onto a smooth 1.5 mile descent at about minus 6% gradient, pretty much perfect for keeping a fast but controlled pace. I ended up averaging under 4:40 a mile for that section, and hitting Bunker Road just 4 seconds behind Andy's pace and 42 seconds up on my goal. I was a little concerned about how I might feel on the Miwok climb.
Yeah. All right.
My legs definitely felt a bit heavy on Miwok, but I was in a great rhythm and I was pretty sure I was moving well. I have a love-hate relationship with climbs like Miwok and Marancello. On the one hand, they're built for running fast because they have a smooth, wide running surface. It's closer than a road to a single track trail, to be honest. On the other hand, they have no trees, so you can see pretty far ahead, and you know you have several more minutes of suffering. And that smooth surface means there's nothing distracting you from the pain you're feeling. I just told myself, consider only the ground passing beneath your feet right now. Take it yard by yard, just focus on the rhythm. That Miwok climb ended up being my strongest split of the day, 25 seconds ahead of my goal pace and a 4:51 gradient adjusted pace. This was the point where I began to feel confident that I would destroy the record, as I only had one major climb left. At the top, I ripped open my gel, a Hill Aid from Spring Energy with 40 milligrams of caffeine. I nursed it on the Old Springs downhill. I definitely pulled back a little on that downhill, and as a result, that was the first split that I didn't beat my planned pace on. I came into Marancello and immediately found the rhythm that I had going on Miwok. I expected Marancello to hurt like hell, but 5 minutes in, I still felt strong and was on pace for a sub-10 split, which would be 20 seconds faster than planned. But then, about 7.5 minutes in, disaster struck. I had a weird heart palpitation, and my legs immediately got heavy. I ran through it for 5 or 10 seconds, slowing down. I even started walking, thinking I was going to have to call it, which would have been incredibly frustrating given the run I was having. But after a few seconds of walking, I felt okay again and picked the pace back up. My legs felt fine, and I was able to carry on like nothing had happened. I still hit the top in 10:12, 7 seconds ahead of pace. I was 1:10 ahead of pace and still feeling good. I was a little concerned by the heart palpitation that had just happened, but I could smell the 107 at the finish. I continued to run ahead of pace on the Bobcat downhill and the Alta uphill.
Great pace. Yeah, fantastic. I've got awesome sauce if you need that. You just let me know. Alright.
Midway through the Alta uphill was pretty much the last time I really suffered on this time trial. I knew I still had to book it, but it would be more about technical running than strength at this point. My feet began to hurt a bit, as my feet were sliding around in my shoes, which caused some blisters. I had my first truly bad split on the first part of the downhill, where I lost 11 seconds. I would have to pick it back up to sneak in under 107. Patrick lost his balance on the first hairpin switchback, and I had to sneak by him. I used the pulls at each switchback to throw myself around the turns. I crossed the road with less than a minute to finish and picked it up a little. I was on the verge of losing control as I finished, clocking a 106.55. I had beaten Andy's time by a minute and 43 seconds, and my own estimate by a minute and 7 seconds.
Alright!
Sub 107.
Sub 107? Dude, fucking awesome.
Yeah, I got about
That's awesome, mate.
minute 40.
Minute 40?
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Is that?
Well, I hope you enjoyed this recap, and hopefully I'll have reason to make another one in 2 weeks after I take on Mount Tam.